a vehicle that matches the description. That reported party, all units go to condition 2.
In this series, top cops, criminologists, psychologists and journalists will brief actors on the events leading to the murder of an innocent. It is the actors who reveal the raw emotions in the stories of a stalker who kills.
This is not how it's going to be.
Look, just talk to me.
But the one-time friend pointing a gun at Leslie Kingston wasn't in the mood for talking.
Nobody humiliates me this way.
There were feelings between the couple. They'd shared good times. But the man with the gun was not a good man.
William Carl Gardner III, a violent abuser of women. A man who pimps out his girlfriends.
Today's gonna be fine. I think he's given up. You know, I told him we were over.
I'm gonna shoot you right through the back of your head.
I loved you, and I meant nothing to you.
You think you're gonna do what you did to me and get away with it? You will not get away with it.
Can you give me more info on that call?
1 hour, 23 minutes. The time it's believed that it took William Gardner III, a man just released from a prison cell, to get hold of a gun.
What's that? What are you doing? William, what do you want?
You put me in jail, so you gonna learn. Oh, you gonna learn. Squealing? You squealing, honey? Let me send you to sleep.
No. Please.
So long, Leslie.
Leslie Kingston and her daughter Kaylee enjoying life in small-town California.
What about me? I grew up in a little town in California.
Leslie grew up in Winters, classic, historic, small-town America.
Pretty normal childhood. Yeah, I mean, what else do you want to know? I got a daughter. She's great.
She was one of 8 kids.
Yeah, we get on really well. Really great. They've always been very supportive. I can really talk to them.
And she had ambitions.
I'd love to get ahead. I've always been taught that, you know, I'm my own woman. I'm a strong, independent person, and I want to achieve something while I'm here.
Leslie was a woman with aspiration. She wanted to do well in life. She was studying. You know, she wanted to move on up, and she could see a future for herself.
Her life was on a trajectory to take her to a career in law, and she came from a large family, but she came from a hard-working family, and obviously was looking to better herself.
And from time to time, she was looking for a man in her life. One evening, she got all dressed up to meet a guy she'd known at school and agreed to a date. His name, William Gardner.
She's something different, you know?
I don't know. I mean, I heard that he likes me.
I see girls and I talk to girls all the time. I go out with girls all the time, but Leslie's different.
Maybe I'll go out with him a couple times and see how it goes. You know, there's no harm in going out for a drink.
They met and seemed to like each other quite quickly.
This is a classic good girl meets bad boy scenario. She's obviously attracted to Gardner. They meet in later life, having known each other at high school, and they start a relationship.
And people with personality like his, they're quite charming and manipulative, and probably she hadn't met anybody else quite so attentive before. It's quite easy to fall in love with manipulative people.
What did Leslie see in the man from the tough side of Winters?
I like to think of it as exciting. He was exciting. He was a lot of fun.
This is small-town America we're talking here. She came from the good side of town.
Briefly, I'd heard about him. You know, I mean, he went to a lot more parties than I did.
And he came from the not-so-good kind of town, if you put it politely.
And he had a lot more girlfriends than I had boyfriends, but yeah, he seemed like a cool kind of guy.
Me and Leslie were meant to be.
He's just so much fun. He makes me laugh.
I don't know, she just brings something else out of me that I like it though. I like it. It's different, but I like it.
He's romantic. He pays for the bill at the end of the meal. He's attractive. He's a good kisser. I just really like him. He's done something to me. Yeah, I can't stop thinking about him.
Was Leslie warned off the bad guy? Almost certainly, by friends, by family. Everyone in town knew William Gardner was someone to avoid. The word was, he was living off immoral earnings.
You know what, I mean, they care about me. Maybe they're a little bit too protective. I mean, I can take care of myself. They're worried because he hasn't got your typical education and he hasn't got like a typical job. I mean, if I was going out with a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant or something like that, I'm sure they'd be a lot happier.
Business is business, you know? However you can make it, you can make it. If I see an opportunity to make money, I'll make it, you know? Where I come from, if you think anything different, then you a fool.
You know what? I think they're gonna be okay with it in the end.
Not long after she began dating him, Gardner's less attractive side fell foul of the law. He got himself arrested for assaults on women. What made the guy from the wrong side of the tracks tick?
The anger flare-ups, the beatings. They may have been linked to childhood.
I have no mother.
Well, I suppose you could describe Gardner as a kid from the streets.
I got my homies on the street. All my boys that live beside me, next door to me, either side of my house. That's my family.
A kid that is used to running wild to a certain degree. He was well known to the local police.
All units go to condition 2.
Unusually for men that become very obsessive kind of stalkers, he's quite successful with women. He has quite a number of relationships and could be described as a ladies' man.
Women are women. Women like me, I like women, that's it. It is what it is.
And this was the man that Leslie Kingston, a mother of a little girl living at home with Mom and with a good job, had chosen.
Leslie might have just had suspicions, but the other women in Gardner's life knew only too well how he got his cash. Gardner forced them to work as prostitutes. He pimped them out.
Pimp? Nah, I ain't no pimp. I ain't no pimp at all. I just utilize women for the better abilities that they may have.
Well, I don't know if all the things that they say about him are true, because I think he's got a lot of people who are jealous of what he's got, you know, what he's achieved. And I trust him. You know, if there really was something going on, he'd tell me.
He was pimping women out and he didn't have any respect for them and he was misogynistic. This is largely perhaps a part of his psychopathy and having no empathy with people, having no real intuitive relationship with anybody.
Those he did have a relationship with were, from time to time, on the receiving end of Justice William Gardner style. He was no stranger to the use of violence.
If anybody don't do what they told, then you gotta face some consequences. It's only right. Why would it not be?
Leslie could not possibly have known what was going on behind the eyes of William Gardner III.
Suspect was last reported southbound on Highway 99.
It was 2013. Had Leslie Kingston and her little girl become part of a family-style unit as William Gardner insinuated himself more and more into their lives?
Oh, there's 3 of us. Well, we're a good little family together. You know, we have dinners together. We sit around the breakfast table.
I definitely think that Leslie's the one to settle down with.
There's nothing in the world that makes me happier than seeing them sort of together. It's beautiful.
Being a dad's cool. It's something different, you know? Like, I never had that. That whole kind of parenthood, all that kind of luxury living.
William would never have been in a functional relationship.
Gardner's main income stream seems to have remained the money he was earning from exploiting sex workers, often via a website called Craigslist. Winters is a small town. Was there any chance that Leslie didn't know what he was up to?
Look, I've heard these things. I don't know if they're true, and I don't know if you've heard about them as well, but William's, he's involved in something, and I don't really know what to do about it. I don't want this to affect, like, our family, to affect our home. I just don't know what to do. I've told him to stop. He says it's all untrue.
Not only was it true, his control method was to use his fists. He'd been regularly spoken to by police about so-called domestic violence.
Gardner frequently rowed with the women in his circle, and when he didn't get his own way, he was quick to turn to violence.
If there's any truth in any of these things, I want you to stop right now.
What I do to make money to bring it into the house is what I do to make money to bring it into the house. I ain't gotta explain nothing, all right? Everything I do, I've thought about it, I've calculated it, it don't affect you, so chill, all right? Chill.
And he becomes a pimp for a lot of the girls that he's actually seeing. So he's having sex with these girls, but also pimping them out to other men.
Girls are girls, man.
So this seedy side of his character is the world that Leslie finds herself immersed in because of her relationship.
Up until now, Gardner had restricted his abusive behaviour to the women that he exploited online. Leslie had remained physically unbothered. That was about to change. She appears to have left her comfortable middle-class life and begun being influenced more and more by William Gardner's netherworld of normality, and to suffer his aggression.
You don't want to see me, Leslie. You do not want to see me.
A culture of violence surrounds him. He's a control freak who knows what to do to get what he wants.
In 2011, another girlfriend, he grabbed her hair and repeatedly punched her in the face.
In terms of his relationships with these women, it's quite physical, it's quite self-obsessed, it's quite brutal, and he doesn't really care emotionally for these women. He's using them, and he tends to be using them for sex.
For sex and for money, and he kept them in line. Threats came easy to William Gardner III.
It's easy to get a piece, man. If you do something stupid, you get beaten for it. So why would I not treat others the same? It's not fair. If anybody don't do what they told, then you gotta face some consequences. It's only right. Why would it not be?
He doesn't want love, he wants control. He's a misogynist, an aggressive serial abuser with a nasty, violent streak that's never far from the surface.
Gardner was living two lives: the pimp, serial abuser, and the loving boyfriend. Some friends even heard him acting the doting stepdad to Leslie's daughter, until the day that would change the story of Leslie Kingston and William Gardner forever.
Gardner even advertises Leslie for sexual services on a website.
The real turning point in the relationship for Leslie is when she finds out that he has actually advertised her as a prostitute.
To his mind, Leslie was now just one of the girls that he was running, another woman to exploit for cash.
This is another indication of what's going on in his head. He sees the women around him as domestic, sexual, financial commodities rather than people. And that really does, the fact that he was going to do that to Leslie, or had every intention of, shows the lack of love and respect that he had for her.
He said it was a joke? But I don't know if I can believe him anymore. You know, he's crossed a line. He's crossed a line. My mom saw it, my friends saw it, the whole town has seen my photograph on this website.
Sharing intimate photos is a powerful weapon if you're trying to destroy your victim. Gardner insists on full control over women, and we've seen the violence when he doesn't get his way.
I'm so embarrassed. I am so mad. I don't know what he was thinking. Was I just gonna sell myself for him? I'm speechless. I don't know what he was thinking.
My cash flow was low. So I thought, hey, why not? It's you. You cute. You funny. People like you. I like you. So I put you on. It ain't like you gotta do nothing.
This appears to be the start of the end of their relationship.
You gotta go. I'm sorry, you gotta go. This is the end of it, William. Like, we've been through a lot together. I love you, but you've taken it too far.
Leslie Kingston moved back in with her mum.
Where you going? You ain't going no place. I dare you to leave. Go on, I dare you.
Just leave us alone, okay?
See what happens to you and your family. I promise you, you know what I'm capable of.
I don't think you got the guts.
The balance of control had switched. Gardner was used to total power and control over his women. He did what he liked when he liked. And the women either fell into line or risked his hostility. Leslie was not obeying.
The power paradigm between the two of them switches. It switches from him to her. She has control. He has to do as she says to a certain degree, and quite clearly he's uncomfortable with that. He doesn't like that, and that causes him some problems.
And one of those individuals who will not accept any kind of challenge, but has this vulnerability that's not necessarily always recognised, in that he can't take any kind of rejection either. And it's when those type of people are rejected that they become incredibly dangerous.
I swear to the God himself, I will tear you and your family apart.
Nobody's ever told him no. Nobody's ever told him he can't have something. So when I told him to go, he just couldn't deal with that. But he's gonna have to stay away because I've got a restraining order now. I just can't be near him anymore.
And so began his stalking. At first, it was harassment by phone.
Well, he starts to send menacing texts, quite threatening texts, and not just one, but lots and lots of texts. And that becomes very difficult for her.
And he's given me enough evidence to believe that he's a danger to me and my daughter.
But Gardner didn't just send abusive and threatening messages. He knew the address where he'd find Leslie.
The life of Leslie Kingston was in the hands of a controlling, violent woman-hater.
You gonna make me do something I'm gonna regret.
Such was the winter's day she found herself in. The menace displayed by William Gardner was about to escalate. His harassment of Leslie Kingston was impacting not just on her, but also her mother and daughter.
So far, Gardner's stalking had been violent and threatening. Now he added a third dimension. It became sexual.
By now, Leslie had a new man in her life. Far from backing off, Gardner began bombarding the man with intimate images that he'd kept of Leslie. Gardner goaded Leslie's new man. "This is your woman. How could she act like this? Maybe you should teach her a lesson." He even proposed that the boyfriend beat Leslie up, and Gardner offered to help. He was so detached from reality that he actually believed it might happen.
Why shouldn't he do what I say? It's not a bad idea. It's a win-win, though.
He was trying everything to undermine Leslie's confidence, make her feel useless, so she's easier to control.
I pity him. Because he's got to have so much darkness inside to have done what he did. I hate him most because of what he's done to my mom and my daughter.
Mother and daughter were often with Leslie as she received the threats via SMS message from Gardner. They were included in what he was threatening. And then came the day he turned up the volume on his aggression.
William Carl Gardner III is standing outside the home of Leslie Kingston, hell-bent on vengeance. Inside, the woman he calls his girlfriend, the woman who he's going to teach a lesson.
I came home from the grocery store and I was carrying all these bags, and I'd walked that day. And I got home and there was glass all over my front yard.
He turned to Leslie's car, an SUV.
He was smashing in the front window. Looked me in the eye. Looked me in the eye and he went to the back and smashed that in. When he said, "You think you can do what you want? You think you can leave me?"
Gardner's true character was laid bare. The woman he claimed to love had taken a stand against his bullying, his insistence on controlling her, his determination that she would do exactly as he said.
The two women and the little girl cowered in terror.
They're actually petrified in the house, and they call the police.
Unit heading up to the code 3 chase. Suspect was last reported.
You call the cops on me? Okay. I get it.
Nobody says no to him. And I did.
And then he gets arrested soon afterwards and taken to court.
It's like that, yeah? All right, cool. I'll see you around.
Gardner, for this and other alleged offences, was put behind bars awaiting trial. Meanwhile, Leslie was doing what she could to avoid him tracking her down whilst he was inside his cell. She tried to make herself a moving target, but she was still a target nonetheless.
With the help of family and friends, she regularly moves and stays under the radar. all in an effort to keep herself and her daughter safe.
Remarkably, the stalking continued, relentlessly. Gardner had access to phones, so he had access to Leslie.
It was bad enough where I was before. People thought I was in jail, now I really am. This don't make no sense. Got me caged up in a box. Controlled hours. Give me garbage food, like... This ain't life. This ain't life at all, man. Treating me like I'm some animal. And it's all Leslie's fault. I tried to look after her and she got me in a cage.
Calls from US prisons are notoriously expensive, but Gardner got round that problem. He tried to call collect. He asked Leslie to pick up the tab.
And while he's in prison, he makes a number, and not just a small number, a huge number of calls to Leslie that initially she doesn't answer.
He calls me all hours of the day. Collect every time. I think I counted, I think it was 40.
The phoning was, in fact, another method of control.
Pick up. Pick up, Liz, come on, pick up.
He was letting her know he was still there, and he knew if he persisted and persisted that at some point she was going to answer.
And this is happening from inside jail.
Pick up. Pick up, man, come on, pick up.
I'm scared.
I got a collect call.
Eventually, and in a moment over the following days that she would never forgive herself for, Leslie relents. She takes his call. She hears a changed man on the other end of the phone. At first, she is determinedly dismissive.
Please, Leslie, man. Please. Baby, hear me out, all right? Whatever it is you need, I got you. But you gotta get me out of here.
I'm all he's got. He's got nobody else.
I won't do it again. Hear me out, Leslie. I won't do it again.
He wants me to bail him out. He's promised me if I bail him out, he'll leave us alone.
Leslie had entered what experts call the honeymoon period, when victims believe that their stalker can be managed.
The honeymoon phase is, in fact, a phase where the victim recognizes that the danger level has subsided. So they feel that, right, perhaps my life isn't at risk right now if I behave myself. So things can appear to go back to normal, but it shouldn't be assumed that's because she's fallen for his story. She knows she's in a safe place for the time being and perhaps can regroup and replan to leave.
Aren't I being strong by bailing him out, by getting him out of my life? I'm paying for him to be free. He's got to owe me something after that.
He has incredible power and influence over Leslie.
The bail had cost just $130. It was the worst spending decision Leslie Kingston would ever make.
I promise if you get me out of here, I'll stay out of your life.
I thought about it really carefully. I spoke to my mom, I spoke to my friends, and I decided that the best thing to do would be to pay for him to go away.
If that's what you want. I can't lie, that burns, man, but if that's what you want.
So I bailed him out.
That was clearly a farce. He would have agreed to anything to get out of jail.
She got me out. She got me out.
And I think that's the end of it. I really think that's the end of it. He's gonna go away now. He's gonna leave us alone.
She could not have made a worse move.
At this point, it is arguable that Gardner has developed into a full-blown psychopath. Bold, cold, calculated. His plan is in place.
William Gardner is out of jail because Leslie Kingston has put up his bail. It was not simply the act of a generous-hearted woman who may still have harbored some feelings for a man in her life. It was a means to an end.
You know, I told him we were over. I told him I wanted him out of my life. And I think it's over.
I'm gonna make her pay. She got me out, but I'm gonna make her pay.
Well, I really wouldn't want to see him, but if I did, I'd like him to be cool. But I think he'd be mad. I think he's still mad at me.
The moment Gardner left the county jail, he began on the road to murder. His first move was to resume the SMS threats.
I've had text messages, like really nasty text messages from him.
The first thing that a lot of stalkers do when they get out of prison is immediately go and find the victim again.
A message is one thing, but appearing in the neighborhood is another. Gardner, ordered by a court to stay at least 100 yards away from Leslie, had also promised to stay away from Winters itself. He lied.
I'm feeling frustrated. He told me he was gonna leave, but my friends have seen him.
You think you're gonna do what you did to me and get away with it? Nobody does to me what you've done to me.
I don't really know what to do. I've told the police, but there's not much they can do.
You will not get away with it.
I thought he was gonna go away. I really did.
Events were being dictated by a man whose state of mind was in a dark place. William Gardner III was writing this story now.
I'm gonna shoot you right through the back of your head. Bitch. Your life's mine.
I will never forgive myself for letting him back into our lives.
This is my time now.
Leslie Kingston, throughout this period, battled on as best she could, looking after her daughter, going to work. But was Gardner watching her every step?
Outside, there's a man with a long record of violent abuse against women. A man who stalked Leslie incessantly. The safety catch on Gardner's obsession, all that aggression, is on. But is it about to be taken off?
By now, Gardner is an armed man.
We know that he managed to get possession of a semi-automatic German 9mm pistol.
On November 18th, 2013, Gardner staked out the location that he'd chosen to pounce. Leslie was finding it hard to hear a call on her cell phone, so left to find somewhere quieter, her car.
I just saw her walk to the car.
I'm worried he's in the parking lot somewhere because there's nobody else around. You know, if something were to happen to me, or if I were to see him, you know, there's nobody there that could help me.
So she goes to her car, gets into her car as she normally would.
She's there.
It's almost as if he's stalking his prey.
I'm all right. I mean, I've got my keys in my hand, you know, and I'm gonna lock myself in the car. I'll be fine.
Leslie was like a lamb to slaughter.
He jumps into the back of the car.
He is on the back seat waiting for her.
She's about to go.
He wouldn't have been thinking about the risk. He wouldn't have been thinking about anything other than actually killing Leslie.
Say goodbye.
William? What are you doing? What are you doing in here? You're not supposed to be near me. Get out. What's that? What are you doing? William? Babe, put that down. Come on. Look, just talk to me. What do you want?
You put me in jail, so you gonna learn. Oh, you gonna learn. Squealing? You squealing, honey?
No.
Let me send you to sleep.
Please.
So long, Leslie.
And shoots her very deliberately into the knee. He then puts the gun to her head and shoots her in the head. And that's the fatal shot that kills Leslie.
Bye, Leslie.
Leslie Kingston was just 32 with a daughter and a loving mother when she was shot. Forensics on the pistol and the bullet cases revealed evidence that the weapon may have jammed, so Gardner would have had to reload and cock the gun before delivering the fatal shot.
Unit heading up to the code 3.
Witnesses who heard the gunfire called in the crime, and police arrived soon after. Leslie was already dead.
Gardner was utterly focused on violently murdering a woman who had refused to bow to his control. He didn't care that this was in broad daylight and in the middle of a parking lot. He didn't show even a hint of mercy.
Gardner had told one of the other women in his life to drive him to the parking lot. Now he ordered her to drive him away from the crime scene.
Gardner forced Nicole to drive again. He told her to keep her head down. She knew what would happen if she didn't obey.
The girl called Nicole later testified about calls that Gardner had made to his father and his grandmother.
Me and Leslie's... She's quiet. Yeah, man, she's real quiet. Look, I just called to say that I'm gonna be... Listen to me when I talk, all right? I'm gonna be out of town for a little while. But I'll be back.
Gardner fled to Las Vegas, sought out a motel room, but was tracked down 2 weeks later. After a 6-hour standoff, Gardner relented.
When it came to this big showdown, he meekly handed himself over to the police and into custody. When Gardner appeared in court, he denied first-degree murder. But the jury took less than 3 hours to reach their verdict.
The man himself is summed up quite nicely by what the district attorney said when he sentenced Gardner to life imprisonment for first-degree murder, that this was the ultimate intentional murder motivated by power and control.
Nobody really knows what made Gardner the vindictive, callous man he became.
And when he sentenced him to life, he could have actually sentenced him to death, but actually sentenced him to life imprisonment without parole. And ultimately, that really sums up Gardner This is the kind of man we're dealing with, someone that is about power, control, manipulation, and has a total disregard for human life.
He talks about being beaten as a child, and that might have contributed to his character, but many people are beaten as children, and they do not become a stalker who kills.
The final text that Leslie had ever sent to Gardner had read, "Goodbye, Will. This will be my last text." She was right. He killed her to make sure of that.